Right, we're just getting the wind muffler on. It's windy in the extreme here at Kirby Misperton. There we go, hopefully. And a little bit of snow now blowing across. And this north wind is rather bitter, to say the least. The temperature is allegedly about half a degree above freezing, but the wind's putting quite a chill factor on it. And so the snow's coming in directly behind me, so at least it's on my back. Oh, anyway, good morning. This is Ian R. Crane. It's the morning of Thursday, 30th of November 2017. So it's actually now officially 22 days since Third Energy, but of course this is Barclays Bank trading as Third Energy, submitted their application to Greg Clark to frack here at Kirby Misperton. And we have speculated a lot over the last few weeks as to why there is the delay. Well, last night it was revealed that part of the delay was directly due to a little loophole in the Infrastructure Act that needed to be rectified. And that loophole is that wells drilled before the Infrastructure Act came into being in 2015 were not actually covered. And so in theory, allegedly, Barclays Bank didn't actually have to seek Greg Clark's sanction to frack this well, which would of course been an absolute travesty, because the reality is that this well was not constructed to be an unconventional gas well, and consequently this well is going to be subjected to a significant amount of pressure that was unlikely to have been planned in the original well design, which is quite probably why it is that they had to establish an inner lining. I think it was a 4.5 inch lining down at least the bottom half of the well. As you can probably see, the wind is getting up, and the even the tripod is starting to vibrate a little bit. I'm guessing that the wind, ooh, this is driving sleet now. I say, fortunately it's on my back rather than in my face. Anyway, that little loophole is about to be rectified today in Parliament, where Greg Clark will submit to Parliament the document that will simply effectively get the rubber stamp closing that loophole, so that any well that is intended to be fracked, regardless of when it was drilled, will have to be signed off by Greg Clark or whomever is Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. Well, as we have also acknowledged, there have been a number of documents submitted to Greg Clark, and although I can't actually make the confirmation right now, I do believe that a couple of legal challenges have also been put in to try to prevent Greg Clark from committing effectively political hurry-curry. Because if you sign off on this, Greg, it might take a little while, but your political career will effectively be over. Because whether it's here or whether it's elsewhere, but a little way down the road, the magnitude of the problems associated with this industry will start to manifest, and your name will be forever attributed with the guy who signed this off. Now, meanwhile, it's obviously also time to remind Barclays customers that it is their bank that is looking to frack here at Kirby Misperton. So over the last 2 days, Barclays banks in Scarborough, Whitby and Moulton, Harrogate, Ripon, Thurs, Keighley and Skipton have all been tagged, and the team have been going to the banks and letting the bank staff and their customers know how they feel about Barclays Bank being the prime mover behind this frack here at Kirby Misperton. So over the next few weeks, obviously there will be massive footfall in the town centres each of the Saturdays in the run-up to Christmas, and so there are 4 Saturdays, the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th and the 23rd, So these are tremendous opportunities from wherever you are in the country. If you can't get here to Kirby Misperton, then please just go along to your local bank and share your knowledge and awareness and try to stimulate the curiosity of Barclays customers. And whether that's getting them to watch a documentary like Gaslands or Voices from the Gas Fields, or simply looking at the websites such as FRACKED, or just punch in anything like that into a search engine just to stimulate their curiosity. Of course, Russia Today has recently run a piece on the links between prenatal and postnatal deaths and brain damage as a result of the proximity of hydraulic fracturing. But of course the BBC will spin that as once again Russia trying to shut down the nascent unconventional gas industry. Well, when the new suffragettes actually went up to Northallerton last week, and I hear that the officers of North Yorkshire County Council gave them due time and paid due attention to their concerns and to their submissions. And although they stated categorically that they would not be writing to Greg Clark to share these concerns, they would look into them. Well, one of the officers made the observation, and he said, but it's only one well. It's just one well. Why is there the concern? Well, just yesterday, a package was delivered to the Kirby Misperton Protection Camp, addressed to me, and when I opened it, it is a report. And this is a report to propose a project to look at the impact of shale gas on the national grid structure, the national gas structure. And one of the comments, I've still to work my way through it fully, but one of the comments is that once this industry becomes established, it will become an infrastructure project, the like of which has not been seen since the changeover to North Sea gas. So there should be your clue. And this is primarily a project looking at the gas distribution network across the north of England, but the project report actually acknowledges that there are significant incompatibilities between the likely content of shale gas and the gas that is currently flowing through our grid that's been processed out of the North Sea, or was processed before it came on shore from the ships from Qatar or from Norway. So this should be your clue that, whatever they keep telling you, and bear in mind they will only tell you whatever it is that they think you need to know to be able to get them to the next step. So as I work through this report, I'll share a little bit more, but it's very, very clear that there are people working at a very, very high level. And by the way, the funding that was being sought for this research project was in excess of £6 million. And it was looking at potentially the total cost of upgrading the national gas infrastructure to cope with unconventional gas of being in the region of 33 billion. So let me just categorically assure you, this ain't just about one well. It's about something that will literally spread right across the country for reasons that we have discussed many, many times, because the potential is that this is simply a red herring to facilitate the construction of a network of deep boreholes for the disposal of toxic nuclear waste. So, all to play for, because also, apparently, reportedly, Greg Clark made the observation that he was not in any great hurry to sign off on this application for a frack. And of course, it's now the end of November, last day of November, we're getting into the Christmas season, and how perverse would it be for Greg Clark to sign this off in the heart of a staunch Tory constituency where, of course, their muppet Kevin Hollinsnake was put into the role of local MP in 2015. The previous MP, Baroness Pickering, formerly known as Anne McIntosh, has recently ripped in to Kevin Hollinsnake and ripped into the whole government agenda of unconventional gas. But he's there to do a job and push it through. So, you know, how perverse. A Christmas present to the 370 residents of Kirby Misperton. Of course, it's 370 in the winter months, but in the summer months, the population here, because, you know, literally just a couple of 100 meters over here is the start of the caravan parks that cater for the people coming to Flamingo Land, which is literally 1 kilometer away. The entrance to Flamingo Land is just 1 kilometer in this direction. And of course, Kevin Hollinsnake, when he came back from Pennsylvania and looked at the industry over there, famously said that in his opinion, there shouldn't be any residences or public buildings within 1 mile of a fracked well site. Obviously, he hadn't done his research and he didn't realize the proximity of this well site to the community here, because the entire village lies within that 1 mile parameter. And then when pushed on that, he simply said, well, it would be far more disruptive for the village if another well was drilled. Well, no, it wouldn't. Actually, the disruption and the long-term impact of fracking this well here is going to be very, very significant. And of course, you know, what is also unknown is exactly what's going to happen with the fluids. Are they going to go to Nostrop in Leeds? Are they going to go to Brand Sands in Teesside or somewhere else? Or are they going to be re-injected into the well on the adjacent pad here, KMA? And, well, I mean, first of all, one has to question the sanity of fracking a well that's literally in, what, less than probably 40 meters away, and it's already producing, and the risk to damaging that existing well. But you know, the re-injection process, as I said yesterday, has triggered enormous amounts of seismic activity in the US. Not just in Oklahoma, although Oklahoma has become the earthquake capital of the US, but also in West Texas. So, all to play for. Still a great opportunity to let Greg Clark know what you think, and also to let Barclays Bank know what you think about them being on point here. And Barclays Bank, trading as Third Energy, they own 97% of Third Energy. And if you think that, okay, well, they're owned by a bank, so if anything does go wrong, then the bank will pick up the tab. Well, dream on, because that's the reason they've structured the company in the way they have, so that Third Energy is effectively registered to a parent in the Cayman Islands. So if anything goes seriously pear-shaped here, they will simply just walk away. Sorry, no money. Just like Link Energy did in Australia after the 13-year total fail of the underground gasification project there. So, also, like I've said, you know, we do have a lot of opportunity. So, although the weather's not great, you know, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. And, you know, right now I've got the full force of this blizzard on my back. You can probably see the moisture on the camera here. But still, we're active. There are people down at the well site, there are people on the camp, and there will be people out visiting Barclays banks. And, you know, like I've said before, if you can't get here, please do seriously think about how you can contribute by sharing your insights with your local branch of Barclays and their customers. Meanwhile, another piece of breaking news this morning: the well site at Horse Hill, and this is the well site owned by UKOG, UK Oil and Gas, previously headed up by dodgy David Lenigas. He's still probably linked in there somewhere, but he was removed as chairman after some shenanigans were identified about the way in which he was promoting the potential of the Horse Hill well. Well, it's been very, very difficult to get the people of Surrey away from their materialism focus to actually take a look at what's going on in their backyard. So hopefully those who have occupied it earlier this morning will help to raise awareness. And I know the lady next door who owns the horse livery stable, Alex, she has written articles about the impact on her business and on the horses that have the misfortune to be out grazing in the fields adjacent to that well site. And in an area here that is renowned for its racehorse training, even the well site is on the land of the Easterbys, another racehorse training family. And whilst the Easterbys would probably argue that they, when they leased or sold or whatever this land to, I think that's Snow on the camera now, when they leased this land to the Third Energy, Barclays Bank, they didn't realise that there was any potential for it to be fracked. Well, here's the reality. And although I'm sure the racehorses won't be training too much today, ground's probably a little bit too hard or slippy, but this is an area that is not only agricultural but also has a lot of people involved in the horse racing industry, and this is mega bucks. And you know, people start taking their horses away. In fact, maybe, you know, there's an opportunity to share Alex's experience with racehorse trainers right across the north of England who are being targeted by this industry. Okay, one final word. Somebody made an observation yesterday and they said, you know, appreciate the updates, Ian, but can you do it in 5 minutes? Because frankly, I don't have the attention span or the time to watch more than 5 minutes. Well, frankly, the vast majority of people who are only prepared to literally devote 2 or 3 minutes or not even to this subject probably aren't going to make much of a difference. I'm not trying to reach out to the entire UK population. I'm simply trying to reach out to those that are still capable of independent thought, those who are capable of discretion and discernment, of seeing through all the BS that's pumped out by the government and the industry and coming to their own realization of what this will do, and you know, hopefully just trying to stimulate that curiosity a little further. So my apologies that you know, it's a little bit too long for you. Just think yourself lucky that it's not an hour long. We'll keep it at 15-20 minutes for each day though, and hopefully you can work with that. So meanwhile, I'm going to go get a coffee. The blizzard is gathering pace, and I say fortunately it's on my back. I got about a half-a-mile walk across the fields back to my car, and then I think I'm definitely going to warm my feet up. So thanks again. I will be back tomorrow. Keep close tabs on what's going on with Greg Clark, because obviously we need as many people as is possible to share the information once if he signs off on this, or if he does the right thing and says, you know what, Barclays Bank trading as Third Energy are not fit for purpose. I don't have the confidence, and frankly I'm not going to put my political career on the line for a dodgy cowboy outfit here in North Yorkshire. So thanks for joining me, and I'll catch up with you. Hopefully I'm not wading through snow, but we'll catch up with you at the same time tomorrow morning. Thanks a lot.